back to the Young Leader Podcast. My name is Noah. Thank you so much for watching. If you would, give this video a like, follow, add us to your podcast library. We would be so grateful for you to do that. And I hope you enjoy this episode. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about leading in adversity. You know, it's so easy for anybody to lead in times of peace or lead when everything's going great. But the real test of a leader is how they perform under the gun, under pressure, when the heat is on and all eyes are on them. How do they react and how do they lead and obtain the best results possible? It's funny. I heard somebody talk about leading without adversity, and they said it's kind of like leading or being a server at like a Golden Corral. Like there's really no point. You're just kind of making sure like, all right, everything's going good. You need a plate? All right. Sweet. But when it comes to leading in adversity, you never know what's going to happen. And such an amazing example in the modern world of a man who leads in adversity can be seen with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky. And the way that he leads this country and he communicates. He's communicating to the Ukrainian people, to Russia, to everybody in the West, and he's communicating with poise, confidence. He's showing unmatched bravery as he leads from the front and really shows the world that Ukraine, they will not back down from a fight. And it's so cool. Even in the Bible, we see amazing leaders who led in adversity. We see Joseph, who lived his whole life in adversity, all for one moment to save an entire nation and really the world or the surrounding nations who were also under famine. We see Noah, the guy I was named after, actually. He built an ark when he hadn't even seen rain. When everybody called him crazy, he persisted even in the adversity and saved his family, saved the human race. We look at Esther, who she was in a position of power and a position of authority, but yet her life was on the line. And she stood up in the face of adversity and decided to take a stand and save her people. Everywhere we look, we see a leader who beat the odds, who really fought against the adversity, who swam up against the current and ended up being successful because they didn't quit and they had the right tools to get them to where they wanted to go. So I want to talk about 3 lessons that I've learned from great leaders in how to lead effectively through adversity. And the first one is steady the ship. It's in times of adversity, things can always kind of be a little chaotic. And what a good leader does is they rally the troops and they say, okay, here we are, and here's what we're going to do. A great example of this can be seen with my AAU coach in high school. His name was Bobby, Coach Bobby. And we drove from Tulsa, Oklahoma, all the way to Dallas for a weekend tournament. And we were in the semifinal game. I remember this so clearly. And he said we were down 20 in the second quarter, and we were kind of starting to check out, and he could tell that. And so he called a timeout. He kind of looked at us, and he didn't really say anything. He was like, all right, this is what we're going to do. We drove 4 hours to a tournament in Dallas that your parents paid for, and we're not going to go out like this. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut this lead to 10 by halftime, and we're going to win this game. I would feel, he said this, I would feel so terrible if we drove 4 hours just to get our butts kicked like this. And somehow it worked. Everybody kind of lit up. They're like, all right, let's go. We can cut this within 10. And we chipped away at the lead, ended up bringing it like within, probably 4 or 6 points. And we ended up winning that game by 20. All because we had a leader who steadied the ship, calmed us down, and was like, look, here's the facts, and here's what we're going to do. So great leaders always steady the ship. The second lesson that I've learned is to be decisive. Now, this is one that I personally have struggled with. It's so funny. I feel like if we're not careful, we can almost ask God to be like, okay, God, just hold me by the hand and take me everywhere you want to go. And I'll just, sit back here and you can just drag me through life to the finish line. When in reality, it doesn't work like that. God needs us to activate our faith. He needs us to take a step, to make a move. He's not going to just do it for us. Nowhere in the Bible, nowhere in life is anything really just given to you other than salvation. You have to take it. You have to take a step in faith. In the Bible, it says, faith without works is dead. And so good leaders are decisive. They go out and they take ground and they live with that decision. They make a decision and they, if need be, they die on that hill. I had a professor in an upper level class, and he would always tell us, I would rather you die on a hill than try to weasel your way out of it and be right. And I thought that was so interesting. All the time, whenever he would say that, he would just tell us, die on the hill. Die on that hill. Shout out to Professor Bussey at Oklahoma Wesleyan University. But it stuck with me, and it's so true. If you're going to make a decision where it's like, these both are kind of equal, and I'm not sure, I'll definitely disappoint people here, I'll disappoint people there, but you got to make the decision, and you got to die on that hill. The third lesson is to analyze and adjust. As a young leader, it's important to be humble. It's important to look back on a decision and be like, okay, how's this working? What are KPIs, our key performance indicators? How are we working in this area? How is the campaign running? Having the humility to be like, okay, that didn't work. Let me try this way. Let me insert a new method to get to this result and see if that works. And it's interesting. A great leader is never afraid to admit if they're wrong. One of the best examples of this I've experienced was in a meeting with David Green. He brought all his managers together at Hobby Lobby, and he basically told them all, he was alone on the stage facing hundreds of people, and he was like, I have been failing you personally. I've not been running the system to the best of my ability, and so we're gonna do things different. And right there, he made changes that would affect, thousands of employees. And it ended up being an amazing decision. It boosted the company forward. But him having the humility to stand up there as a billionaire and address low-level managers the way that he did, and to really chart the course for the company, was an amazing step, and it ended up being the right one. All in all, if you're a leader in any arena, you will face adversity. And that's a good thing, it's a great way to kind of see what you're made of, to kind of test yourself. There's that saying where it says, a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. And in life, you can't go through it without getting your knee scraped every once in a while. It's reality, it's gonna happen. But how are you gonna react? How are you gonna treat the people that you love? How are you going to get up and be better because of it? The great leaders do it, and the not so great leaders, they blame, they refuse to take responsibility. They say, you know what, I'm checking out emotionally. You'll never reach the level of a leader that you want to if you can't face adversity well. Be encouraged, because you watching this and listening to this, I know you're a great leader, and I know that you've got what it takes. So keep on doing your thing, and we'll see you for the next podcast. So take it easy. Peace.